Well, it's here, and it's available on a streaming service near you. It is a documentary series about the life and many controversies of Sean P. Diddy Combs. It is a story of abuse against women, armed attacks against people he didn't like, to death threats, to being held responsible for the deaths of others. And yes, this is all in the first episode. But in truth, this series isn't only about how Diddy was in a car chase on the streets of New York in which someone in the car that he was in fired shots at the car that they were chasing. It is essentially a chronicle of his life and career, how successful and influential he was, and in some cases, he still is, and what that did and still does to anyone who came in contact with him. Join us, will you, on a journey of disgust, fear, and downright Caligula-esque antics. Today's video is sponsored by the Modfall book series. Get your copies today. Detective Monica Ragner's daughter is thrust into the deadliest murder cases in her career. Fear and deception lay at every corner, and her fight to save the lives of others just may cost her own. Get Morphol Disciple and Morphol Paraben at these retailers today. What if I told you that Sean P. Diddy Combs is a monster? What would your response be? What would you say to that? What would you say? Would your response be that, of course he is a monster, he's a beast, a savage, and proceed to recount his career accomplishments and all the songs you like from him, and all the deals he made, and all the people he knew, all the influence he had? Or would you say that he is innocent until proven guilty? Or would you say that you aren't surprised? He is a monster, and that you've been trying to say that for the longest time. I had a conversation with a friend recently, and I asked him if he saw this docu-series, and he said to me that is all hearsay. It's he said, she said, and there's no real evidence because the public hasn't seen the videos. There's no real evidence of his guilt. Like, there you see that some people are still trying to defend him. As you know, you understand that there's sometimes society feels that there's a concerted effort to railroad certain celebrities. They don't like that some celebrities, some people of some backgrounds are rich and they try to devise plots against them. I understand that sentiment. I understand everything involved in that sentiment because in some instances in the past, it did feel like, and I'm not going to name them right now, but it did feel like, some people had it in for a certain group of people, as if these people had no right to be wealthy and successful. But, I told them to go and watch it for yourself because I told them, sure, he said, she said. However, there's lots of witnesses as to his Diddy's antics, his crimes, his actions, and when I told him that P. Diddy kept videos, yes, videos of the things he did. He, a friend of mine, sort of backtracked a bit and said that he would go and watch it. And that's the thing. We live in societies that promise the all-encompassing innocent until proven guilty. I mean, the evidence against P. Diddy is strong, especially since he kept trophies of his crimes, including the rapes. Trophies in the shape of video recordings, as I mentioned earlier. And if authorities have this evidence, those videos, and other evidence, there would be no jury in the world that even could acquit him. So why don't you do yourself a favor, clear your busy day, or even watch it over a few days. See the docu-series, because there's more than one. See it, and you be the judge. You determine to yourself whether you think the evidence is strong, and if he has a chance of being acquitted. Because as you'll see in the series, that he was involved in a shooting in the club in New York, and he was acquitted of assault with a deadly weapon. So go ahead, see the docu-series. You be the judge. Like, share, and subscribe.
I think there's a difference and a disparity between what people think they were, meaning that there was hundreds of people engaging in these activities. That wasn't my experience.
How many people would typically be there?
It's a small batch of people. It's a very intimate group of people.
What would he require for a Wild King night?
We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, marijuana, ketamine, Molly. You have mushrooms on the top there.
Was the code to the safe 1, 2, 3, 4?
Baby oil and Astroglide were very important. Candles, incense, Apple TVs, electronics, computers, iPads. Obviously, there was, male libido supplements, stuff like that. Those requests started to become more frequent. They started to occur on a daily basis. There was a requirement. We had to keep those things stocked.
Phil, can you come back upstairs to help me set up the red light?
I would get a lot of voice notes from Diddy.
How often?
Daily, hourly, every 5 minutes, every 5 seconds.
Would you ever be asked to bring things to Diddy during a Wild King night while it was ongoing?
Yeah, for sure.
Phil, I need some Cialis. Give me 20 Xanax, please. Hey, Phil, I need a plan B. I need 10 Adderall. The mushroom capsules, the microdose. Can you bring that out to me, please?
What would you see when you would go into the room?
There wouldn't be anything happening while you were walking into the room.
But there would be people there.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about who the guests were?
A lot of times it was girls who were a little bit under the radar that didn't have a lot of influence. I think that speaks to the type of situations people were put in. A lot of times you have him with a younger female. There's a power dynamic there. A more impressionable girl is easier to reel in as opposed to somebody who might be a celebrity who not gonna really do too much of that or kind of give some pushback.
How old when you say young?
20s.
So in terms of the criminal charges that Diddy is facing, his team has said he didn't break any laws. These were all consenting adults. The fact that he is facing criminal charges for this shows that the government is sexist and puritanical and uptight, and he was just partying. These were all consenting adults. What do you make of that argument? Was he just partying like a rap star, or do you believe that there were laws that were broken?
Look, there's partying and then there's party. And in my experience, I wasn't in these rooms while these things were happening. Consent is between the people that are engaging, and I wasn't there in these situations to understand the consent. There was guests that would frequently come over and participate in these intimate situations. Sometimes you would see new faces. He told me to come up and grab one of his guests' bags, take her down in the car and drive her to her hotel. I don't know what took place. All I can say is that when I had brought her down to the car, she was shaking, visibly shaken. didn't look like how she looked the night before. She said something to the effect of, "I've never done like anything like this before."
Did you ever see Diddy get violent? Did you ever witness violence?
I absolutely witnessed violence. Yes.